Welcome back to another edition of Laying It Down. It is August 27th, episode 32, joined by Scout and Sloth, as always. Well, most of the time. What's going on?
Most of the time. Yo, cut that always shit out.
Sorry. So, on Wednesday, you're hearing this Thursday, the NBA did something they'd only done once before. That was when Bill Russell boycotted the NBA because of racism and things like that. The NBA as a whole boycotted the playoffs today. Huge deal. We talked a little beforehand. Sloth mentioned this is kind of a where were you moment. We've never seen anything like this. And there have been talks if it's even worth continuing the season. These players are they're in bubbles, and it's tough to begin with. And then with all this going on, they kind of made a point to with the Black Lives Matter on the court, on the jerseys, all that. And I'm not speaking for them, but my guess would be, where's the progress been made? This is not how we decided we were going to do this, but the MLB decided to cancel games. The Lions were the first to do so. They canceled practice Tuesday. So it's just, I don't know, crazy times, and hopefully some positive comes instead of more negative.
Yeah, just a
hope season.
Just a complete shock to the sports world, I guess. I mean, it started with the Milwaukee Bucks. They didn't come out for the warm-ups, didn't come out for the game. Orlando seemed a little bit confused kind of what happened, but then quickly picked up on exactly what did happen.
It seemed like Orlando was left out of the group chat on this one.
Yeah, a little bit. So, once it did kind of news travel, it seemed like the players really stood together and decided, hey, we're all not going to play our game fives tonight. And then afterwards, Woj just been tweeting some updates all night. It seems like an ongoing story here of players getting together all in the hotel, trying to figure out their future plans. But then that news, and this is where I think it's a where you moment of not only did it go to the NBA, but it just sent shockwaves to every other league, which I can never remember a situation of this ever happening. Of like where all of a sudden then, the MLB, I think it started with the Brewers kind of saying, you know what, no, we're not going to play either. Then it goes even the WNBA decides to stand with their brothers in the NBA. And then even the MLS, I think they had one game already kick off, but they canceled the other 5 out of 6 in the night. Even the NHL, they didn't cancel games, but they took a moment of silence. Yeah. Just every sport, the whole sports world tonight on Wednesday, just completely coming together. And this is a huge moment. I think just not even just sports history, but probably American history moving forward. And it's wild to say the least. It's just kind of something that I don't think any of us can really completely wrap our heads around kind of what's going on, but this is huge and kind of crazy to see. But like you said, Woody, I think it's kind of like being in the bubble, kind of feeling like you're a little bit isolated from the rest of these communities and these cities that these players give a lot of time their time to, and maybe feeling pretty disconnected from that.
For sure. Paul George, was talking previously that he was dealing with depression and all this stuff beforehand. So, and like you said, I think the only other time this has really happened would be the terrorist events of 9/11 and the Boston bombing. It's the only thing I can think of that comes to mind where sports were just like, yeah, we're not playing today. Big deal.
And there's been a lot of focus on it since for a while now. Like you said, the Lions refused to practice. I think tomorrow Washington's refusing to practice, or maybe not refusing is probably not the right word there, but not practicing to, take time to have these tough conversations. yeah, and then even I'm talking like even after any of these playoff games, you saw a lot of the players like Chris Paul. You know, I think he had a pretty big game. And they started asking about it, and he just said, "Nah, I actually want to talk about what had happened, and you know, go into social injustices and stuff like that." So, yeah, they're using their platform for you know, to speak out for change, and I think in the end, all any of us want is positive change to come out of this, and yeah, just you know, we hope for the best.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, the podcast is centered around athletes who play sports, and I think this is all part of it. And we would be doing a disservice of some sort if we didn't bring this up. It's not fun. It's not stuff you want to talk about, but it's important. And I think if we were in those locker rooms and having those meetings with them, I think our eyes would be opened a lot. So there is no real transition from that to what we're going to talk about the rest of the day. So that will be the transition. There was NFL news today. David Montgomery, it was like non-contact injury, went down, messed up his groin, it seemed like. Reports are saying he's going to be okay. If the Bears think they are any type of contender, you should just go out and get Leonard Fournette. What do you think? They have 8 tight ends. They could drop one off, maybe.
I've seen that thrown around.
That seemed like a crazy injury. It seemed very scary at first. I heard that the cameras cut off at Bears camp when it went down. It was through in like a walkthrough type situation, which when you hear a guy going down and grabbing his leg and we're getting carted off, it's never good. It's those, like I think we talked about it last episode. It's those continuously refreshing Twitter moments where you're just like, please, for the love of God, tell me what happened to our starting running back or our starting wide receiver, whoever. But seems like good news is going to come out of that. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears took another guy from the Jags. Jags seem to like to unload their team, and they took him with the 4th overall pick, right, or something like that. That's what Leonard Fournette was, and now he's pretty useless on that team.
Which is crazy because he is like the focal point of their offense, and they're just like want to get rid of him like for nothing. So the Jaguars don't make any sense to me.
Didn't they draft a running back too? That's apparently going to be the receiving back.
They did, yeah. But
they have Chris Thompson.
They do. Reunited with Jay Gruden. They were together in Washington.
Thompson.
Yeah,
Chris
remember him?
Thompson. Jeez, I feel like he's been in the league for 15 years.
Yep.
And then they drafted somebody. I don't know if they drafted somebody this past year, but 2 seasons ago they drafted somebody in the 5th round, 6th round. So I don't know. They don't have a ton of draft capital, to my knowledge, in the running back position, but they want Leonard Fournette out. They've been trying to trade him like every single day for the past 2 seasons. So we'll see. Yeah.
Any other news? Any NFL news I'm missing? We'll get into Dan Schneider in a second, but from a player level, maybe
a bro what there?
Yeah. Dan Schneider has been under the microscope lately for a lot of things that have come out about bad HR moves, changing the team name. He was very stuck in his ways. Recently got a Twitter account, and then now there are things coming out that he has been getting into some, what was it exactly? Some stuff he wasn't supposed to get into with the cheerleaders?
Yeah, apparently there's some video that was made back in 2008 with the cheerleaders and clothing or lack thereof, some kind of weird thing going on there. He released his own statement saying that basically this was a like a hit job basically by the Washington Post, and that the story is lined with a ton of misinformation, and why did nobody come out and say this before, and a lot of employees have discredited it or whatever. But then in a typical the new Washington team move, the Washington team released its own statement kind of going a little bit against, I guess, this there. Not really, but more of like I guess the politically correct type of statement, just of like, we will look into these allegations type of deal. We stand with our employees and want to believe them in these types of situations. So, yeah, it seems like there's the Washington football team, and then it seems like there's Dan Snyder. And Dan Snyder, he says he's going to be more involved in the team, and that seems like maybe the worst idea. Mm-hmm. Like, I think you should be as far away from that team as you can get, Dan.
This is going to be an ugly breakup. We've seen it coming. It's going to get real bad.
Yeah. Also in another bro what for Dan Snyder, he got a Twitter. What are you doing?
Worst time.
What are you doing? What are you doing, man? You better turn off commenting. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
It's not Twitter. Twitter's not the place for you, man. Twitter.
He's got to do that gif of the guy walking in the door and right out of the door. That's going to be him.
Just go ahead and delete that.
Yeah. Other than that, NFL news, I don't think there is anything else. I might be missing something. The training camp stuff, it's a lot of info from a lot of different beat reporters, and it's hard to summarize all that. So
I forget, not to go back to what we talked about earlier, but they did one coach, I want to say, God, I cannot remember the name of the coach, but there was a quote that came out about, if there could be protests in the NFL, maybe games missed there too, and they basically were like anything is possible. So something to keep an eye on. Like it's not just coronavirus, but everything that's going on in the world is going to probably also impact the NFL season.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Colin Kaepernick took a knee 4 years ago today.
There you go.
Talking about NFL protests.
Yeah, well, he's credited with the first real one. So,
yeah.
Another transition that there is no real transition for. We're going to get to the bright stuff. And it's a new segment called What's Your Fantasy? Where we're going to deal with fantasy football, what's going on in the fantasy football world. Scout is coming fresh off of a draft.
I am. Everybody wants to hear about it.
We've yet to hear your team. We're dying to hear it.
I'm sure you are.
So
I think everybody is.
Give us the context. Is it 12-team? Is it 10-team?
Okay, all right. I'll give you. So we got a 12-team league.
Okay.
Single quarterback,
mm-hmm.
2 receiver, 2 running back, tight end, flex, kicker, defense. Your standard 12-team league, half PPR. The only scoring difference is that 10 points per touchdown. Throwing, rushing, receiving, defense, 10 points per touchdown. So that's pretty much only the big swing there. So like Mahomes went 4.
Okay. Your draft position?
Yeah, what was your draft spot?
So I drafted in the 10th spot.
Okay.
So you want to hear?
That's a tough spot in a 12-team league.
It was tough, and especially when I didn't make the first 2 picks.
Well, you were late to the draft.
Well, I wasn't late to the draft. I was.
Oh no!
I couldn't log into, I was on. Yeah, it was through Yahoo, and I'm not. We usually use ESPN, so I'm not too familiar with Yahoo. So
Scout first passwords.
Yeah.
The greatest battle known to mankind.
It is. It really is. If you know me, it is.
Reset.
I fucking couldn't get on into the draft room, so I got auto picked Dalvin Cook and Joe Mixon. I was okay with that.
Wait.
So
I'm surprised Joe Mixon made it back to you.
Yeah, so
quarterbacks so it's different, so maybe not.
Yeah, quarterbacks. Well, Mahomes was the only one.
If everything's 10 points, I would not have taken Mahomes in the first round. It's not like passing touchdowns are 10 and everything else is 6.
Everything's 10. Right.
10. Yeah, that's a bad pick. Whoever picked 4, that's a bad pick.
I unfortunately cannot find the draft order A little underprepared here.
To see who went before and after.
Yeah. But it's I got an email saying I got an A on my draft report, so that's good for an auto picking 2 picks. So that was good. I was happy with the Joe Mixon pick with my second round, but Dalvin Cook is like the holdout. Oh, we missed that. Apparently the Vikings cut like their negotiation talks off.
They did. You were right. Yeah.
Today they did that. So I got Alexander Madison.
So you get both.
So I got both.
You're fine.
I reached for Alexander Madison like the 7th round. I said, fuck it. I got to get him or my first round pick is a waste.
Yeah.
So I reached. It is what it is. So my starting lineup is Dak Prescott, got him in the 6th round. DJ Moore, got him in the 3rd. A.J. Brown, got him in the 4th. Dalvin Cook, 1st round. Joe Mixon, 2nd round. Jonnu Smith, 12th round. Robert Woods, 5th round.
I mean, there's no one that you drafted that I don't like. There's no one on there who I'd be like, I'm not drafting him.
So
who are your starting wide receivers again? I'm sorry.
DJ Moore, A.J. Brown, Robert Woods.
It's actually pretty fucking good for a 12-team league.
So for a 12-team league,
where did you draft your quarterback?
Dak Prescott, 6th round. I don't know how he fell to 6th round. I was basically drafting players that like fell in ADP.
Yeah.
So like
That's
Dak Prescott is projected the 3rd best quarterback, and then our league is 10 points for a touchdown. So he's projected like 35 touchdowns. So he's projected over 500 points. So in the 6th round, I thought that was pretty good value, but I love.
I'm a hit or misser guy on Dak just because I feel like Dak has like those fucking great weeks, and then he has just like
shitty
absolute shit weeks where he'll throw for like 75 yards and 3 picks or something bullshit like that. And like, I just feel like there's more like I know this like doesn't make sense, but like Kirk Cousins is, I feel like, more of a consistent quarterback. I know like
weekly
in fantasy anyways. I mean, I know like last year he had that 110 pass game or whatever, but then after that they're like, we're going to fucking pass the ball, and they just let it rip, and then he was fine.
Yep.
So, he gets a lot of flack, but he acted like fantasy-wise, he's actually not that bad of a quarterback.
Yeah, fantasy and real life, that's where it's like completely different. For instance, Josh Allen is a terrific fantasy player, but
here we go.
And he's just as good in real
barrel in real life.
Top 10 in real life, baby.
Bottom of the barrel is absolutely a hot take.
No, but I mean, I think like you have safe players, but then you have the high upside of A.J. Brown, who I think if he was on, that's kind of hinges on Tannehill. So we'll see if he can replicate.
That's why I was really happy with Robert Woods at the flex, because the Rams are going to do that 12 personnel.
Yep.
A lot of times this year. So
1 running back, 2 tight ends.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, I was assuming our listeners, they knew that, but that's okay.
I might be underestimating them. There's no way my mom knows what 12 personnel is.
Fair. Shout out, Mrs. Smith. So, my bench is terrible.
Wow.
That is an issue with this type of season.
My bench is terrible.
That is an issue.
Well, I guess they're not. They're backups because it's a 12-man league. Like,
that's where they're
you would never draft. You would never draft these guys in 10-man league. Ready? So, Alexander Madison, because of Dalvin Cook situation, handcuff. Antonio Gibson, Washington football team. He
kind of Tariq Cohen maybe.
Yeah. So, Brandon Cooks.
I like that.
Deontay Johnson. For the Steelers,
could be
Jamison Crowder,
consistent.
Matt Stafford, and then I picked A.J. Dillon and Josh Kelly.
A.J. Dillon.
So Stafford could
I basically those guys are just backups.
if Stafford's healthy, he could be a better option than that.
He might have better matchups. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Apparently, Stafford was like a fucking beast before he got hurt last year.
He was. Oh, he was on record pace.
He was on a tear. So I mean, if he could pick up where he left off, like I said, I feel like we've talked about this on multiple episodes. Like that he had that injury, and everybody was like, "This could be career ending," and now all of a sudden he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll just be a quarterback again." Like,
yeah,
I'm back.
Yeah, like that just concerns me. But I think he could honestly, if he does play and he's fine, you might have one of the steals in the draft. What round did you get him in?
13th.
Okay.
The Alex Dillon pick is interesting.
AJ
Dillon. Yeah. Sorry, buddy.
That's okay.
One, I was apologizing to Dillon, Mr. Dillon.
Mr. Dillon,
if Aaron Jones goes down,
that's why I picked
big
him.
time. But they also traded up for this guy.
I know.
And all the coaches are like, I've never seen anything like this guy. He's built like Saquon and like the Hulk. Like there's that one picture.
The quads, yeah.
And we've talked about how bad we thought the Packers draft was, but they obviously think he's this guy. So, I mean, who knows? We've been like, if Aaron Jones is on any other team, like he has that potential. He did finish like RB 2 or 3 last year in fantasy, but like he could have done so much more, which is crazy. So I like that pick too.
So those last two guys are just handcuffs in case either Aaron Jones or Austin Eckler get hurt. They're just the immediate handcuff. So I didn't pick a defense or a kicker.
I would have probably
first time
defense at least.
First time in my life in fantasy, I've never picked a defense and I've never drafted a kicker or a defense. First time ever.
Okay.
And I was the only person in the league who didn't draft either.
It's not crazy.
It's not terrible strategy. No.
So I wouldn't recommend it in a 10-man league because your bench you're gonna have better players. But so I wouldn't want to cut those guys as quickly. So like Joshua Kelly and AJ Dillon, they probably won't be on my roster week 1 because I'll need a starter. Like I'll need a kicker and a defense. They're basically just insurance in case the starter gets hurt and then I'll wind up having to cut somebody else. So those are the only – so that's a little insight there. If you're in a deep league, I was going to pick either Justin Tucker, Will Lutz, or Harrison Butker, but they got picked on the way back to me. So I was like, okay, I'll probably just stream kickers anyway. So I don't have the top 3. I'm not gonna pick one.
Right. Okay.
Fuck it. Same thing with the defense.
Yeah. Sticking with fantasy, Scout and Sloth are recruiting members for their new league. Explain it.
Play with us.
Yeah, if you want to play with them, reach out on Twitter. Sloth LID, Scout LID.
Yep. DMs are open.
They are wide open. So tell us a little bit more on that.
So this is a little bit more of a kind of just a very unique league to kind of spice things up in fantasy. So we've changed rosters around a little bit. We got a 2 quarterback league, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, and a flex. We're thinking about doing an auction draft, something that neither Scout or I have ever done. But that's up for debate. That's up for vote. I don't want to throw anybody in there. There's a free agency bidding. And then I guess the thing is we're here for points, baby. We're here to –
more points the better.
Points. So we got – I guess the most significant one is we got 10 points if your kicker makes a 60-yard field goal. So kicker's a little bit more valuable. We also got
Jake Elliott, first-round pick.
6 points across the board for any touchdown, for any throwing, rushing, receiving. There's a point per carry, point per reception. I'm trying to run through any of them.
Half point per completion.
Yeah, we and then kind of your normal standard points we've inflated a little bit, and also if your defense gives up 46 points, you're losing 10 points. You're not losing 6. I think is the normal scoring But if your team gets a shutout, you also have 10 points instead of just 8. So, we did just kind of buff some or increase some of those point totals just to make it a little bit more fun, have higher point totals. And then the reason why Woody can't partake, not a gambling man, it's a little bit more of a high roller league. There's payouts every week for highest score of the week. It's some money there, and then first, second, and third get money. And there's one little wrinkle for our playoffs. We took a book out of the NBA's page and said, let's have a play-in game. So the top 3 seeds will have a bye. So it's a 12-week season. Top 3 seeds have a bye. Week 13, the 4 seed and the 5 seed.
Hold on.
Battle it out.
It's going to be electric.
You didn't hear it either, Scout? He just said, we're taking a book out of the NBA's page.
No, I didn't.
I thought
we're taking a page of the NBA's playbook. Run it back.
I know what you meant.
Yeah. Well, I was tripping over the words there. But, it's going to be electric. I feel like in some leagues you always feel like you're fighting for that. The 4 and 5 are always fighting for that last playoff spot, and you get kind of ripped off with most points for or whatever. Or you have that, the 1 in 10 guy, his one wins you, and you needed that win to get into playoffs or whatever. So now, prove your worth. 5 seed, beat the 4. Let's see what you got.
4.
Top 3 seeds are locked in.
So DMs wide open.
Yeah.
At Scout LID. At Sloth LID.
High
Please
roller
inquire
league.
for more information. High roller league, yes.
So we need 5 more people. First come, first serve.
There you go. Do we have anything? Oh, so I had an additional worst of the week last week that I forgot. It'll fit into this segment.
Perfect.
Of what's your fantasy. I am in a 12-team league, and I have the 12th pick. So
I'd rather have the 12th than the 10.
Maybe. It feels ugly. And with online, it's timed, and it's 2 picks in a row. So,
dude, it's like nerve-wracking when you're
your
on
palms
the clock.
get sweaty.
Yeah, it's like
He's
so much.
weak.
The live draft is so much better.
Oh, 100%.
I'm
It's
a big,
different.
when it's online, I'm a big, I have my guy, right? And then, the pick before, 2 picks before, somebody takes that guy, and then I'm completely fucked.
Yeah, because you were set.
I have no idea where to go, and I just panic, and then you're like,
Jimmy Graham.
Yep. Gronk. The worst of the week, 2 coming up. Move 1 of 2 this weekend.
It's Thursday, and there's worst of the week already. Not good. Not good news.
It's a future worst of the week because this is move 1 of 2, and I know the apartment's about half packed right now, and that's basically it's basically all I can say.
What else do we have? Madden 21's out. We got to start playing the yard. If everything I've heard, it's good. Kind of backyard street. We've talked about it. Backyard street.
EK likes it.
And in big soccer news, Lionel Messi is leaving Barcelona. It sounds
huge news.
He has a clause in his contract that basically says I can leave whenever the hell I want because I'm Messi. And after losing 8-2 in the quarterfinals of Champions League, he's hitting that clause. So there's rumors Premier League.
He wants to go to Man City. I saw.
And then I saw something crazy that he might go to Man City and then have another agreement and a couple years later to go to MLS, which would be insane.
Dude.
That's if you are any good, if you have any polarizing power as a international soccer player, once you're washed up, you don't feel like going hard every day. You go to the MLS, it'll be sold out every game. You'll get paid more than you should. And you can try out the U.S. for a little test drive and then go back home.
Test drive.
Ibra's done it. Wayne Rooney's done it. Beckham did it. So it'd be pretty cool to. I mean, Messi's in your city, and you kind of like soccer. You got to go. Got to go. So.
Oh, you better go.
I'm hoping he swings to Chelsea, plays with Pulisic, maybe teach him a couple things. But
that would be.
They play very well, not similar, but he's trying. Pulisic's trying, but we'll see. It'll be cool. See him in a different uniform. Would he ever pair up with Ronaldo? You think? Juventus?
No.
Be like, screw it, we're gonna do this together.
I don't think so.
It'd be wild.
I think that would be something to see right there.
100%.
I mean, they're a little past their primes, but still would be something.
I think they got enough to make some noise.
Think?
Yeah, I think. I mean, dude, Messi just lay it up for Ronaldo's header. That's all you got to do. Popping up in the box for him. That was talking soccer. Do we have anything else to talk about? I don't have anything. We kind of just kind of winged it this episode.
Just
no snake draft. Snake drafts are coming to an end once the NFL comes back because we're going to have a lot to get into. So,
yeah, I think just these next few days are going to be pretty interesting for the sports world as a whole, and we'll be watching, we'll be listening, and I'm sure by our next episode we'll have a lot more information of the future of the NBA and the future of some other leagues as well.
Yep. So on that, we will be back on Monday. And will that be September? I think that might be September.
We'll be days away from football.
Today is Thursday. That means 2 weeks from now, Mahomes, Watson, we've said it a million times. It's happening. It's going to be awesome. Oh, we didn't talk about this.
Oh, okay.
Underrated news, Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, Carrie's back, baby.
Carrie Underwood is back.
Waiting all day.
Yeah, waiting all day for Sunday night. Is that it? But it just
better be the song.
It feels right. It would be like changing the Monday Night Football theme song. Just can't do it. Got to stick with it. So that's good news. And hope you're doing well. On that, we'll be back. We'll be back on Monday. Peace.